In today's video, I'm going to be checking out the Decal Editor in F1.25. Now, in order to access the full, well, it's not the full Decal Editor because I'll show you what liveries are available in just a moment as well. But if you want to access and do what I've done in today's video, you can do so in the customization and under car. If you go down here, we've got a couple of designs already that are pretty bland, to be honest. One seems to have decals, the other seems to not. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of both of those. Now, you choose a base livery basically, and depending on what you've locked and unlocked, there are some that are locked for the podium passes. There are some, if you've got the iconic edition, then you will be able to use these two, Lewis Hamilton's and the F175 livery as well. Yes, obviously, bearing in mind, in my team, this works slightly different based on what sponsors you sign. We've also then got three pretty boring liveries, I'm not going to lie. These are three liveries, and yeah, I kind of just wish we had a full-on livery editor, because this livery here looks a bit mid. So yes, there are other liveries though that are available for the podium pass, as well as if you are playing my team and you get level 6, I believe it is, with a sponsor, then you get to unlock as well. So just keep in mind there are separate liveries that to unlock there as well, which you won't be able to unlock anywhere else until you unlock that. Which, to be honest, I mean, this is away from my team crew mode. They should all really be available, but there we go. So I'm going to speed run through adding a livery. I mean, to be honest, with these non-standard non-liveries where you don't have a title sponsor, which, to be honest, I feel like the title sponsor should not really dictate the livery. Nevertheless, I've gone for this XER. I know you've got colours like Mercedes and stuff, but obviously that is a Mercedes livery. It is not other stuff. One thing to note with all these liveries is you cannot put a badge on it. So there's no thing to say this is Phoenix Grand Prix or whatever team that you've got. That's just something to think about. This is just me plopping some logos around as well. I mean, XER, that is probably our sponsor. To be honest, the sponsor placements much improved from F124 and previous years. Yes, absolutely a lot miles better. You know, you're able to place sponsors. I do think that the front wing needs a bit more of needs a higher limit. Other than that, that's the only sort of limitation. The other thing is there is an issue with the top of the front wing, which is why I've not got one here. Basically because because it drips onto the bottom bit of the plate. So just something to think about. But overall, I mean, it's all right. I mean, I imagine you could probably create better with, you know, and you know, one of ours was saying, you know, in my team crew mode, he's not using mods. He's only used mods ever so slightly, obviously, to add his badge. Obviously, one sponsor that should be on all the cars is Pirelli, really, but we'll gloss over that. Now we come to driver numbers. Good news, there's more than one design. Previous years, you just had one design. You couldn't even change the colour on, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. The bad news is you can't move the driver number. So if you've got a livery like this, it's okay on the front, but if you see it on the shark, it's okay on the front. I can pick any of these ones to go here and they will fit. But you can see here, some of them just overlap. So I'm having to, if I want to have that consistency between the two, I have to pick something that fits on the shark nose thing, whatever that area the car's called, top of the engine cover. that's the area of concern here, you know, because you've got to try and fit a livery, a logo, sorry, the number in here. And it's just, I want to be able to move this about. I want to move this slightly to the left so I can fit, so it fits center in there. That is a little bit disappointment that it seems to be there for every, it seems to be locked for every livery, which I find very frustrating. You know, you've made progress, we've given these options, now you need to give us more options as well. Now I'm going to show you, we're going to pick one of these better liveries. This is X4 MIG. It's a bit, not so much an F1 livery, I suppose it can be a bit, it's a bit more wacky, but I do think that I can make this work as well. So I'm going to show you through a little bit more of this livery, because this I think is probably my best design. This will be the main feature of this video. I found that really the main way to go about this is to place your primary sponsor first. Place your sponsors in order of importance, really. So you place your primary, secondary, tertiary, and then any other sponsors that you want to fit. You're seeing here that I'm actually going to break that logic, to be honest, with placing Astrologic on the rear wing. Yes, obviously this is X4 MIG Grand Prix, because there's no badge or anything to say Phoenix Grand Prix, and I'd love some, even to be able to type something and type some lettering that says Phoenix Grand Prix, for example. I'm just using that as an example because that's what my team, career mode team, used to be called as well. But obviously this livery's got X4 MIG already over. There's not going to be too many sponsors on here because I want to try and, it's, you know, it's an X4 MIG sort of livery, but there will be some sponsors on here, and I'm going to get creative with those sponsored placements really. But obviously it's about trying to fit places where the X4 MIG branding isn't quite so obvious. So from the rear wing I'm going to remove Astrologic and I'm going to put X4 MIG on here as well. You know, they of course are a title sponsor. You see you've got the decal variants. Some of these decal variants I find aren't that great. So yes, here you're going to see me place a load of just the basic black or white variants as well. Obviously I'd love to be able to just use the color changer on all of those really, because if you've got something like what AlphaTauri used to do, all the liveries were in they were in that dark blue as well. X4 MIG on the number plates, that will mirror to the other side. I did think about putting X4 MIG here, but decided against that. And then on the front, there's two parts of the front ring. I did think about putting something here, but it just didn't feel right. If I had like a static, be able to edit these logos, then that would be good, but we're nowhere near that. Yeah, then I'm going to put the black variant on the out of the front end plate there. That gets mirrored as well. Yes. Also on the in the top of the halo. So the top of the halo, this is a bit of a problem area still. So you might remember if you previous My Team liveries where you couldn't curve, because obviously the halo is a curve. You can't curve these logos. Now, to be honest, when I'm editing my driving career mode liveries, I don't tend to curve the logos, but which I don't really tend to have an issue with that. But on here, it can be a little bit hard to find that as well. It would be nice if we could have, this is nice being able to have free movement, but I want to be able to curve some of these in. Also, you notice I've mirrored them here as well. That is, which, you know, it's a nice feature to be able to mirror, but excuse me, one of the things that is a bit of a problem with the mirror is that it then merges them together. If I want to adjust just one slightly, then, you know, I want to be able to adjust them individually really, rather than together, if that makes sense. So that's a little bit annoying. The other thing is you the look around, you can't really you can't move up. So for example, I would like to move around so I'm facing the front of the mirror to see what that looks like, you know, to place this astrologic sign. I can't do that. I'd also like a flip option, so it flips 180. That would be nice as well, if you're going to keep it on here, because that would make it a lot easier for flipping logos around as well. So let's progress on. We're going to put also astrologic on the front wing, and yes, obviously some of the sizing issues here down the front wing. This front wing is a bit massive. You can see I've only got limited space here, so not all the livery, all the logos will be going on that. I'm trying to make it a less plain at the bottom here as well. I'll probably, if we had decals or our own personal shapes available, I'd probably put another X on the front as well. We've also got Roscoe's logo as well. Obviously that's named after Lewis Hamilton's dog. I was thinking of trying to play about and trying to get the UK thing to to basically be on the other side, so you know it sort of mirrors that line, which would be fine on that side, but on the other side it doesn't have that. So again, having some flipped variants of some logos as well, I think would be good in the future, especially for stuff like this as well. Now this is something that you probably wouldn't see in real life, a logo on its side like this. You do see them sometimes like this, but they're usually straight, you know, either in a vertical mode or elsewhere. Again, you got no choice. You can't change this up. It mirrors from either side, really. There's no option there. Yes, obviously you can see here, this is what I was talking about with the Roscoe logo. I'm having to now reduce the size of that because it fits on one side but not the other, which is a little bit of a shame, to be honest. As I said, you know, we've got 6 variants for each sponsor, which is not bad. I mean, we had variants before depending on what sponsor placements you had on F124, so this is not new, seeing sponsor variants, but I think that there's some things that could be redone, that could be improved. Also on the where the driver is, next to where there is no space next to the cockpit, so where you'd see teams have loads of sponsors around the halo, for example, and the cockpit, you don't see that. You can't do that. That's an area of the car that's not able to be edited. Also, there's other areas like the inside of the front end plate, for example. I can't put sponsor there. The end plates, the wheel arches, excuse me, can't put a sponsor there either. So it is still limited on where you can put sponsors, which again is frustrating as well. And again, it'd be nice to have some more variants. I really do. It would also be nice, yes, some of these sponsors are really nice, but I think that they're not realistic. So to be honest, they're not realistic. Not all of them will have realistic looking liveries, and you can see here there's a pizza slice here. Again, you can able to duplicate on the front wing. Lovely feature there too, but it's some, as I say, some of these are really nice. You know, this AAL logo, you know, I could see that being a real life sponsor. And then you've got other sponsors, you know, Electroplat as well, fantastic series, but then there are other sponsors that just really, you know, like the final AAL logo, just don't fit. 7 even, I could also see being a real life sponsor, up to a point. Obviously, you know, it'd be nice to have some consistency between all the sponsors, the sponsor changes as well, because some of them just have really weird color ranges too. But yes, obviously I didn't really put too much in 7 even. it feels like a 7-Eleven sponsor really, but again, fitting them on the front, fitting them on the front end, the front nose there as well. The other thing I do like is that it does put the sponsors that you've used already at the top, so obviously if you're trying to place multiple sponsors everywhere, you don't then have to go constantly through the list, otherwise it is alphabetical order. But yes, you can see here this Highland one, which, to be honest, some of the basic ones just look a lot better than. I'd rather use this than the top variant, to be honest. It's just a thought that some of them don't quite look great, to be honest, as well. That's my personal opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I've been 15 minutes in this video. I just say this would be, this is obviously me making a livery, and yes, use without using mods, because obviously for those of you on console in your My Team career modes, this is the only chance you've got, to change your liveries as well. And obviously as you go on progress through your My Team career, you will unlock better and better liveries as well, as I said. Yes, although it is annoying that you can't place any personal stuff. Now, one thing I'm doing down here, something that is just, I think, gets forgotten about by a lot of people. So a lot of the teams have, some of the teams have sponsors down the bottom, like they're usually on the carbon fibre bit, but you can't edit down there. So I've just put some sponsors down the bottom here of the car. These are usually like technical partners that are with the team, and obviously their logos are on the car. So that is just something to think about, that I would recommend you do. I think it adds a little bit of realism. Doesn't quite work so well with this livery, but obviously if you can find one that it does work, I'm pretty sure that it does work. It does have that little bit of realism to the liveries. And again, this is me trying to find another logo. Can you see here that some of these just don't really work in terms of logo variants, and I think that that is a bit of a shame here. Yes, we'll go for this Xenon Dynamics, which, to be honest, it's okay. It reminds me of the 80s, to be honest, but look, it reminds me of which was the Vice City, I think, GTA Vice City logo as well. I'm also going to just fit this Cabman logo as well. Again, some of these logo liveries are variants. They're not that great, and I think that the vertical options should be available they should have 6 normal versions, 6 horizontal versions, and then obviously if there's any special liveries like, it's our anniversary, for example, because take Shell, for example, Monaco Grand Prix, they had a 25th anniversary livery, for example. Also putting one down here, do see logos down here at this point of the nose code sometimes as well. And then just finish this livery off with a number, and again it's a little bit annoying that this was the only one that actually fit. It looks like a rip-off of what Alpine have done. I would love to be able to move the logo to the red, but none of them, absolutely none of them will fit for this livery. So yes, but that, ladies and gentlemen, has been a little bit of a tutorial of what I've done. If you want to share your designs, what you've done with your My Team liveries or any other mods, let me know in the disc. I've got my Discord's in probably the best place to do that. Stick that in there as well. Comment as well what you think to the Decal Editor in F125. Obviously it's an improvement on what we had, but is it perfect? Is it better than, for example, F1 Manager? Because I think that is the benchmark, really. I don't personally think that it is better than F1 Manager, and I think the base liveries can be a bit of a letdown, but obviously as we go through the podium passing seasons, we will get new liveries, but whether or not they're any good either, I don't know. It'd be nice if we could have community designs, because obviously there are a load of modders out there that would probably create wonderful design liveries, and a lot better than some of the designs here. But alas, they're not going to do that. So because Codemasters don't exactly get on with the modding community. But yes, that's what I'm going to leave it today's video. Have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see plenty more F125 gameplay videos as when they come out. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.